Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Andrew. Today we're continuing our series on religion. We're going to move away from the Catholic Church for a little while, and we're going to start talking about the morality within the Bible. So, as I have said on all of my other religious videos, I want you to know that to me personally, it doesn't matter what you believe when it comes to religion. I respect people whether they believe in a God, don't believe in a God, believe in many gods. I don't lose respect for someone based on their belief system. I only start to lose respect on people when they try to tell me what I have to believe because, obviously they know better than I do. That being said, let's continue. I think a good place to start would be the Ten Commandments. Some of them I think are good, and some of them I think are a little troubling. So let's start there. Now, except for this one, and there might be a couple times in the next few videos where I actually quote the Bible, I'm not going to be quoting the Bible as often. I think that would just be me reading a bunch of passages, lines from the Bible, and then describing them. Unless I specifically need to talk about a line in particular, I'm just going to put the passage somewhere on the screen so that if you guys want, you can check it out yourselves. But I am going to read the Ten Commandments because I do want to talk about each of them specifically. So here we go. The Ten Commandments. Number 1. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of slavery. You shall have no other gods before me. So basically he's saying, well, I should be your God because I got you out of slavery. Except that it also says in the Bible that you have to be an Ebed to God. And depending on who you ask, Ebed means something either along the lines of servant or slave. However, most historians and language experts say it falls much closer to slave. It just has a slightly different connotation than what we consider a slave today. So God got you out of slavery to be his slave, essentially. Now that's fine, and again, it's not like a slave like we think of a slave. It is kind of more of probably a combination of servant slave. So you have to work for him, essentially, or for God. But to me, that's a little troubling. I wouldn't want to be seen as anyone's slave personally, but I don't know, maybe that's just me. Number 2, you shall not make for yourself an idol, whether in the form of anything that is in heaven above, or that is on the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. You shall not bow down to them or worship them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, punishing children for the iniquity of parents to the 3rd and 4th generation of those who reject me, but showing steadfast love to the 1000th generation of those who love me and keep my commandments. Hold on a sec. God is a jealous God? That doesn't sound very godly to me. But who knows? I mean, this is apparently his words, or God's words. Who knows if it's a he or a she or an it or anything? Who knows? So, let's say I worship a false idol. I don't just get punished. My children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, and my great-great-grandchildren all get punished because of my indiscretions. So that would be like stealing. If I stole something, went to jail, and they didn't just like arrest me, they arrested my children, my grandchildren, and if there were any further generations, they would arrest them too, because they were seen as guilty because they're associated with me. Now, there is a country that does this, believe it or not, in the world, and it's a glowing example of freedom and progressiveness. Of course, I'm being super sarcastic when I say that, because the country I'm talking about is North Korea. We don't think it's okay for North Korea to do things like this. Why is it okay for God? Because he's God? Well, I mean, the leader of North Korea is the grandchild of God, so technically, isn't it near the same thing? Or at least that's what they believe, so just saying. But just remember, if God shows steadfast love to the 1000th generation of those who love him and keep his commandments, I will say here that there's nothing like conditional love. Oh, I'll love you, but just do exactly what I say and how I say it. That's a little... that's not really love. And honestly, to me, that sounds like something more like a tyrant would say than a loving God. But it is what it is. Now, I've got an interesting question here. So, what happens if I were to love God and follow his commandments? That would mean that he would show steadfast love to me and to 1,000 generations. But then what if my child then worshipped a false idol? Would he have to show steadfast love while punishing my children and 4 generations more, and then continue showing steadfast love after that? That's a bit of a contradiction. I can understand if you are punished for your transgressions. In no way can I understand my children. It's like the argument right now. Well, you know, your people were the slave owners. Yeah, okay, but was I a slave owner? Like, and incidentally, I'll talk more about this later because it pops up in modern culture quite a lot. But every society at some point were both slave owners, and at another point were both slaves. So that's a stupid argument, first of all, but I'll go into that later. Number 3, you shall not make wrongful use of the name of the Lord your God. The Lord will not acquit anyone who misuses his name. God is sounding like a triggered snowflake. Incidentally, in today's day and age, is there anyone who hasn't said God damn it? Because that's what he's talking about. Or that's what God's talking about. Don't say that. Is there really anyone who hasn't said something like that? Remember, that's one of your biggest rules when it comes to Christianity. Number 4, remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath to the Lord your God. You shall not do any work, you, your son or your daughter, your male or female slave, more about that later, your livestock, or the alien residents in your towns. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that is in them, but rested the 7th day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and consecrated it. Slaves? I'm shocked. Do I need to put sarcasm flashing in the above my head when I say that? Yeah. Guess what? There's slavery in the Bible, and it's okay to have slaves. I'm going to be talking about that on its own as a separate video. I'm going to exclusively make that one separate video. So we'll talk about that. Don't worry about it. And hold on, did the Bible just admit that there are aliens? Oh my God! I mean, I know Pope Francis said there's likely a possibility that there are aliens in our universe, but like the Bible, what? I'm just kidding. Obviously, I get alien in this case means someone that's not from that town, that's in that town at the time. Okay, but what day is the Sabbath or the day of rest? Well, for Muslims, their day of rest is Friday, the Jewish it's Saturday, and the Christians it's Sunday. Technically, the Sabbath is Saturday because Sunday is considered the start of the week. Now, there is actually, before I get into that, there is the modern view that it doesn't really matter what day it is, as long as you keep God in your heart during that day while you rest. I think that's come out more of the fact that people tend to have to work weekends and stuff now, so it's kind of like a modern day, well, we kind of have to do this, so we'll just make it easier for ourselves. But technically the Sabbath is Saturday, and that's the day you're supposed to have of rest. It's different for, obviously, like I said, Muslims and Christians. I don't understand why it is for Christians. I do know why they moved it to Sunday. A lot of that comes from trying to bring in pagans, and the fact that Sunday is the day of the sun, the day most worshipped by pagans, and so it's to kind of make it easier for them to get into the religion. It is what it is. I'm not going to go into that whole. I could do hours talking about that and changes that Christianity's made because of that. But I do have. This is, to me, this is a little because like they claim Saturday is the last day of the week. Now, this argument that I have has nothing to do with religion, has nothing to do with the Sabbath, anything like that. It's just a pet peeve of mine. And I could really do like multiple videos just talking about this. I'm not going to, probably. But, so, how is Sunday? I have a question. And I know that this is way off topic, but we'll get through it. How is Sunday part of the weekend and also the first day of the week? That's never made sense to me. It is what it is, I guess. But yeah, I mean, shouldn't really, like, for instance, schools go from Sunday till till Thursday, and then have Friday, Saturday off, if Sunday is the first day of the week. But maybe that's just me. Thinking about it, maybe I will do a quick series all about the days of the week and what they actually mean and stuff. I do find that quite interesting. I think from now on, instead of saying Happy Hump Day when referring to Wednesday, we should really be wishing people Happy Odin's Day. But maybe that's just me. If you know, you know. And if not, I might just make a video on it. So, commandment number 5. Honor your father and your mother, so that your days may be long in the land that the Lord your God is giving you. I'm going to talk about this one more in depth when I go into specific things into the Bible. For now, I'll just say that I don't believe that parents should be honored or respected for just being parents. I think they should be honored and respected if they are good parents. And unfortunately, there are few good parents out there, I believe. Now, I'm going to do commandments 6 through 9 all at once. You shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Wise ideals to live by. However, I will say with the murder one, it seems like that one's at most a suggestion. More people throughout history have been murdered in the name of God than for any other reason. And they have been murdered by religious people who claim to follow the 10 Commandments religiously. Yeah, that one's a suggestion. And looking at the Bible, after being given the 10 Commandments, the Israelites did what to the Canaanites again? Oh, that's right. They murdered them en masse. Again, right after they were told that murder is a bad thing. Really, I believe what it means by you shall not murder really means you shall not murder people of your own tribe. Anyone else is fair game, but but going back to what they did to the Canaanites, sorry, God said, "Don't murder," and then God said, "Murder," because it was God that commanded them to do it. So, yeah, there are a few, just a few weird discrepancies. And lastly, we have number 10, you shall not covet your neighbor's house, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife, or male or female slave, again slave, or ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. So this one is talking about thoughts, right? Coveting is thinking, oh, I really want that. It's not even like doing anything to that list of people or things or animals. It's just thoughts, and I'm against thought crime. Now I'm going to do this in a PG way for YouTube, but so bear with me. But how many of you out there have thought at some point something like, "Oh, I wish I could unalive my boss"? You know what I mean when I say unalive. Imagine being thrown in jail for that. That would be ridiculous. What about if you're dreaming? Let's say you're dreaming and you covet. Let's say you're dreaming and a woman who is not your wife pops into your head in the dream, and stuff happens in the dream. Are you responsible for that? You're thinking about it, you're coveting it, but it's your dreams. How can you control that? Is that a sin under the commandments? Like, that's where thought crime gets very, very iffy to me. I'm okay with people thinking whatever. I mean, I think there are some things that you probably shouldn't think, but as long as you don't act on those, what does it matter what is thought in your head if you don't share it with anyone? Also, by the way, coveting what other people have is a driving force for our economy, so maybe leave that one alone for now. Just a thought. Well, that's that video. I'm going to, in the next one, I'm going to talk about a bunch of smaller different things that pop up in the Bible that are kind of iffy by today's standards, and we'll go through those. So until then, I hope you have a good day, and I will see you then. Bye-bye.